Hey everyone, I'm Rob Koch here, representing Deaf in the Cloud. Want to make sure that the captions are working okay. So Destiny O'Connor will show up a little in a few, but I'd like to introduce the folks that we're talking with today. This is the team from Signapse. It's a little bit of a play on words with synapse and sign, so I think it's a very cool name. We've got two interpreters here, one who's ASL, who's voicing now, and another one who is BSL, who will be voicing later as well. Just to let you know that BSL, or British Sign Language, and ASL, American Sign Language, are actually completely different. So the way that folks sign in the different languages are completely different from each other. So, um, we're hopefully we will better understand each other, but some of us are relying on the AI generated captions, as well as the ASL interpreter and BSL interpreter. So just making sure people who join have their video off. So, so we've got the two interpreters. And then we go around and we can introduce each other, introduce ourselves, and then talk a little bit about the work that they do. So who wants to start? I guess we could start with Ed.
Hello, I am Edmund Frey. I work at Signapse. My role is engineer, machine learning, and we research in our research and development team. I am the deaf colleague, and we're trying to basically improve AI in sign language in BSL. I'm profoundly deaf since birth. I use British Sign Language, and I have a master's degree in AI, which I studied for 2 years, which is hard work, but successfully achieved that. And I'm employed by Signapse. So we focus on a database for artificial intelligence and how to translate text into BSL or vice versa. And we want to break barriers that exist for the deaf community. So in areas such as transport, travel, so people have access to information. I'm very excited to be part of that team. Thank you very much.
So I do have a question. Do you have okay, yeah, you do have a sign for your company name.
That's my
So Signapse, this is here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's been my sign name my entire life. It doesn't actually work on the screen. That's if my head doesn't, top of the head doesn't fit on the screen though.
Awesome. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. Rachel.
Rachel. Hi, I'm Rachel Benyon. I'm head of translation and data for Signapse, and that's how we sign Signapse. I've been working here for, let me work out the date, January last year, and it's gone by extremely quickly. My role is translation, but also collecting data. So we collect data for a linguistic research. For example, in the UK, we have regional signs, regional differences, older generational signs, modern signs that are developing in the community, such as COVID, for example. And we want to make sure that our service and product matches the community's requirement and expectations. And we've done a broad range of translation projects. Also, we focus on data collection for AI to basically feed our AI model That also relates to the translation projects because we can gather data from there and feed that also into the AI, so individual words and signs. So we start with the word and then the sign. Later we add non-manual features, shoulder movement, roll, shift, etc., to create the finished message. So a year ago, compared to where we are now, there's been significant changes and lots of development in our work. That's really an exciting time. And we are starting to provide those solutions to accessibility. So in future, we'll be breaking through many more barriers. It's very exciting for us.
Great. Yeah. So we have just had Destiny join us. Give me just a moment. So yeah, thank you for that, Rachel. Talking about data coming in and a lot of that data that you need to create the AI intelligence there. So we'll talk about that a little later. I am curious, and I do want to ask a few more questions about that process. And of course, AI is crazy right now. So wanted to introduce. Okay, yeah. Again, trying my British Sign Language.
Hi, I'm Marcus. My sign name is Marcus. Because I've always had this, I've never been clean shaven. My role in Signapse is a Deaf Impact Officer. So that entails community engagement, gathering information and feedback, and communicating with the community and organizations, deaf-led organizations, working with them to identify needs and how we can support them using technology to provide access. I oversee projects working with website translation. So I will talk to organizations and then work with our engineering team to provide a translation plugin for their websites to help the deaf community or to provide that access for the deaf community for information on those websites.
Great. And then to the last team member.
I am Rowan. My sign name is like Ro. My role is basically in Signapse is working on video. So I receive the products that my team have created and I do the editing. So Rachel will do some translation work that will get passed to me. I edit that. It could be including background color, adding logos, graphics, multiple elements of the video and provide that to our end customer. Also, I'm very new. I'm the baby of the bunch, but I've been looking forward to a long future with Signapse.
Yeah, glad you're able to join. And then Destiny, do you want to introduce yourself really quick? Sure, yeah. So I'm Destiny. Sign name is Destiny, right? Like this. And I am a developer here. I help with like nonprofit organizations and various things there. I'm also the co-chair for CNCF, Deaf and Hard of Hearing Working Group with Rob, and that is based out of the Linux Foundation. Yeah, thank you for joining. So got some questions ready to go for you. So the first question is, so the data and all of that, how do you collect that? Are you involved in the transformation of it, or are you, well, maybe I could start with actually your product, your video, what you do exactly. Maybe we should talk about that. And then what it looks like, if you don't mind.
Yeah, there was a few questions in there, so I'll try to answer that in summary. We're still relying on human translators just to make that clear at the beginning, because AI is still in development and there's a long way to go before we have our ideal product. But feedback from the deaf community is that they actually want to see a human signer, human translator, someone that they feel they have that rapport and engagement with, rather than an avatar or a cartoon style signer. So we rely on human translation, and we have in-house plus freelance translators that we work with. And our product is video translation, could be e-learning, webinars, website translation, etc. So whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, anything out there, we can translate it. That's our everyday work. So we get agreement to use the data from those projects. So if I'm doing the translation work myself, as a BSL translator and head of translation, I will do that project work. I will research the topic, background reading, and I decide how I'm going to do that translation. And it might need to be time synced. It might be following a script without a time specified. So we make sure that we understand the script, understand the linguistics of the audience that are going to be watching that translation, whether they're regional, what age group they are, and that all goes into the preparation before I actually film the work. And then I film my clips, and software data collection system, they're entered onto there under each project, and then they will get passed over to Rowan, who does the editing element of that work to meet clients' requests, and provides the finished product, which the client will then use either internally or live on their website. So that's our process of everyday translation work, really pretty much the same as other organizations do. But we collect the data too of that translation. So looking back over the translations that I've done, we can choose linguistic elements and specific signs, and we label these with a gloss. So for example, basic name, me, Rachel in BSL. English would be my name is Rachel. But glossing doesn't work like that. We follow the BSL structure, and the AI needs to know the BSL structure also. So we will add the glosses to match those signs. And then we do that with each sentence, gloss each word. So there's a lot of work involved. And there's thousands and thousands of sentences, millions of potential sentences, but there's only me. So we need to expand our team so we can do more translation work and more glossing. One sentence may have 2, 3, 4 different possible interpretations or translations. So in the UK, we have over 20 signs for the color purple, for example. So the AI needs to know all of those options as well. And we can't just label them all purple. They have to be perhaps purple for Yorkshire, purple for the Southeast, etc. So you could identify the appropriate audience for that sign. So no day is ever the same. We do a wide range of work, and this product is in development. We have a long way to go. We need to gather lots and lots of data, but we have achieved a lot in the last year as well. Our data collection, we are prepared also to share, because BSL and ASL, it's very rich language, history and culture, linguistic elements. So we want to share that information because it's our language. So that's what we do. I hope that answered your questions, Robert.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great. Speaking of that, wondering how the resources are with cost and data storage and all of that. How, are you labeling the things? Are you labeling them, with a name, and then the data with the video, right? How much storage is that? Is it a lot? Is it a little? How many hours, if you could guess?
It would depend. Some projects might be very quick, very small, but there's still significant data there, but it can be reused, repeated. So depending on the topic, the context, you might have a different project where you could say use the same information, but it could be hours of content. It really does depend. We give our work to the translators, and they have to do that. They will research and do their own translation to make something that's accessible for the deaf community. And then we can, in their free time, they can also do data collection, labeling. So because it's not, the software can't do it all itself, because BSL and ASL, really the grammar and the structure, the syntax is unique. So it has to be done manually and backed up with research. So we're talking about many, many hours, but that's our job. And that's the aim of the company, is to make sure that the AI is developed in the future so it can do perfect or ideal translations. So we're at the beginning of that journey with doing a rich data collection, because we need quality data fed in order to achieve a quality product. So we're talking millions of items of data, and we're going to be recruiting more staff. We just recruited one translator recently who's going to be starting next week. They'll also be doing translation and data collection, because I've been doing that all myself so far. So my capacity is going to double when our new staff starts. So we want more translators as well. So I'm focusing on BSL and BSL data, not ASL. One, because it's cultural appropriation. My first language is not ASL. So I would rather someone who was native ASL user with that lived experience to be able to provide that. And I would be able to learn from them, but I would draw the line and wouldn't do that work myself. So at the moment, it's BSL data until we recruit an ASL translator. And as I said, it's so fast changing. Today is going to be different to tomorrow, and things are constantly changing.
Yeah, so you've got job posted for ASL folks. Obviously, we were talking about ASL interpreters. So yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, is that then your specialty of like going through the code and getting all of that transcription and everything? What language or what tools do you use for that process?
Is this going to be you, Edmund, or okay?
Yeah, for Edmund.
As Rachel said, yes, we gather data, as she explained. And each element of that is glossed and stored. And then my team will compare the live video of Rachel's translation against the AI interpretation. We can see whether it's too fast, too slow, whether it's clear, whether it's jumpy, if they're signing from where to the sign for London, the linking those two signs together. The movement in between needs to be very smooth. And AI is going to be really beneficial because we don't need to repeat all of the elements of a sentence, because we have that recording, so it can be reused and it can regenerate different messages. And that's not perfect at the moment. It's still improving, but it's a better product now than we had at the beginning 2 years ago. It's already achieved a lot, but there's, as Rachel said, there's still a long way to go to create all of those glosses. So we're working on 500 to 1,000 glosses. So any sentence that you might say, we want to be able to create an accurate AI translation, interpretation of that message. So we're working, the quality of that production is really important for the deaf community to see and receive that message clearly. They don't want it to be too slow. They want it to be clear. They want it to be high quality. So the aim of our AI is to provide that high quality output product. So information is accessible for all deaf people. So I joined myself only back in December after I finished university. So I'm still learning myself at this point. We use Python for our coding. Every day I'm learning and adding new ways and how to develop our code. And we're constantly improving the quality. Our team is doing research. It's a fantastic team, working together really well, supporting each other, sharing ideas, discussing our work. And it's a great place to work at. Rachel says, just to add, focusing on BSL and ASL at the moment because there is demand actually for other sign languages globally, of which there are hundreds. But so we don't want to spread ourselves too thinly with the data and our resources and our staff to sacrifice quality for that. So we're focusing on BSL and ASL and English, using English sentences, essentially the same language. So we're focusing on those two signed languages, and the American market is more tech savvy compared to the UK market. So working with America is helping us develop, so it's give and take with them. And hopefully in 1, 2, 3 years time, when we have the AI is developed and we have a database on the glosses, we could introduce Auslan or French Sign Language. So at the moment, we're just focusing on BSL and ASL.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Wondering if you wouldn't mind showing us a short video of your product to show the audience what it kind of looks like, and then we can go from there.
Sure,
and
bear
then
with
we
me.
can switch over to maybe Destiny as well. And then, of course, feel free to give us a walkthrough if you need to elaborate on anything. Just trying to figure out the airport there. See this? No, I haven't seen it. Interesting. So you can reach out and then have things translated. Nice, even in the elevator. That's great. Yeah, I was just looking at that. That's another wonderful way to advertise. Yeah, if somebody's in the elevator and they're trying to figure out how to sign hello or how are you, things like that, that would be super cool. Because then you could like watch that while you're in the elevator and learn a little bit of sign. That's very neat.
There you go. stop
Very
sharing.
cool. Yeah, Destiny, if you want to go. Yeah, so going back a little bit, so how do you train your AI or your machine learning for these various features? If you want to bring that up again, or just what do you use? How do you train uh, those types of things?
Edmund and I are working on that. We have a process, so there's lots of translations and which get edited and then passed to the tech team. And through each process, we have QA, quality assurance, quality control, and we're constantly reviewing the product because the first translation that's recorded, we will check whether that's accurate, but that's not the end point because we have multiple quality checkpoints and different perspectives. We have the deaf perspective, hearing perspective. We can say, there seems to be something missing there, hasn't been quite captured. The sync, the time sync isn't quite correct. The context of the sign isn't appropriate. So we would refilm if necessary, and then run the process again to feed the AI. And that's how we train the AI. So anything to add about that, Edmund? Yes, Rachel passed some information to me, and my team have basically like Excel spreadsheet of data. We run through our code and we monitor the signs, any movement, shoulder movement, eyebrow movement, facial movement, arm, hand movement, and record all of that data. And then we test the quality of a single sign, a single gloss produced by the AI to see whether that's a good enough quality. So we'll literally start with one sign and test it until the quality is sufficient. Some signs are longer, or the clip is longer, so they have to be cropped because when you blend all of the signs together to produce a message or a sentence, you need that to be smooth and not jumpy or laggy. So you need nicely trimmed clips of each element of that message. So
Right.
the
So you're blending
glosses are
that all
all
together.
trimmed to fit a nice sentence. So between one sign to another sign, you can get can be jumpy, laggy. So we're confident that this year we will be able to resolve that to produce a high quality blended message. But it's under development, ongoing. My team are still learning, as I've said, and how to process those clips. So Rachel won't have to record everything forever because once we have this data, it's captured and we can reuse it to create other sentences that may arise. I want those to be able to be produced nice and smoothly. So we're applying machine learning. So it can basically learn itself to develop new sign sentences. So if Rachel signs COVID, it can learn to blend that sign into a sentence. So that gloss can be used in any sentence. So COVID, lockdown, COVID happened when 19, whatever content you want to include in that message. So we are not at that point yet. We need to improve the quality first and make sure that is smooth enough before we move on to the next step of AI. And hopefully that will also begin this year, but we still have a long way to go. There's very exciting times with my team in learning how to make that work. We want to be the first company to be able to produce a really smooth, good quality AI translator product. And we're going to be very proud in doing that. So we have deaf people in our team, hearing people in our team working together. The staff are learning to sign. The hearing staff are learning to sign as well, which is great. Some are doing a BSL level 1 and I can teach them as well because I'm a qualified BSL tutor myself. So we work together and we can communicate really well as a team. I really enjoy it. Rachel, just to add, also an example, because people, I think, forget about translation and AI may be taking over, and they can be concerned about that. But think about the airport scenario. You have an airport with many, many gates, perhaps 30 odd gates. And it would be, you can't imagine having a sign language interpreter at each gate 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Can you imagine the budget that would be required to pay for that for a single airport? And all airports all over the UK and America would be having to pay that out. So AI is a perfect solution to that scenario. So you don't need to worry about booking live interpreters and them standing there perhaps being used or not being used, or having to take breaks, or a person having to walk around if a deaf person comes to the airport to accompany them. So deaf people should have the same access as hearing people. They should have that information instantly and not later. So that is the kind of equality that we are looking for, and AI is a fantastic solution. Medical appointments, doctor appointments, hospitals, legal settings, we would not suggest AI. We would not get involved in those areas. We're not looking to steal work away from interpreters, because there are gaps where interpreters cannot be in real time all day throughout the year. So that's the area we're looking to develop in. And research in the UK, the NHS, the National Health Service medical provider, their website has many, many, many pages talking about health issues, cancer, could be colon cancer, breast cancer, and all of this information is on their website in English. And also background research, rather research developments, means this content is changing. So you'd have to re-film that if you were doing a recorded translation. If there's breakthrough research, this information isn't instantly accessible to the deaf community if it needs to be recorded first. So using AI for a website such as that can provide instant access. And some people have suffered in terms of their health because of lack of access. So we're focusing on transport, rail, air in the UK and America, and also websites that are difficult to translate with a live or a live person doing that recording, but rather using AI. Just wanted to add that.
Yeah, great. No, go ahead, Rob. Yeah, so I was curious. I want to see, obviously it's great to see your successes and everything that you have done so far. Having that assigning accessibility at the airport or on the train, and seeing how many minutes. It's really great to be able to see that. I'm wondering how you get sponsorships or any type of monetary funding for your support for your product and through the community, and how to keep that going. So I'm wondering if you don't mind sharing a little bit of that as well.
Do you want to mention the Google grant, Marcus? Yeah, thank you, Rob, for the question. We have a relationship with Google, provided us with grant funding, $1.5 million, because they were interested in supporting development of AI for the deaf community, focusing on website translation in particular. So I'm supporting the deaf community and deaf-led organizations and others who are interested in using this money for website translation. So I'm overseeing that project, working with many organizations to let them know we have this funding available to support them to make their websites accessible. And we offer our plugin as well as our translators to provide translations of their website to make information open to the deaf community, as it is but for hearing people to get equality in that area. So the funding is specifically to support that. So we welcome either BSL or ASL organizations, websites who require translation. We have funding for that.
Great. I hope that you are able to keep it up, and wondering too, if funding runs out, would it be something like that the airport would fund, or CVG airport would support that, or if there was like a subscription type of a process. I'm just wondering there, that audience too, would you reach out to anybody here? Feel free to add any more questions. And then Destiny, did you have any others? Yeah, so just wondering, like in America, we have government funding for certain things like this. So wondering, like, with transportation authorities and whatnot, I'm wondering how we could have service offered to folks that, let's say are taking the bus, or, having these availability to be paid for something like that, for accessibility, interpreters and all of that. So I'm wondering if they would pay for, like what Rob was saying, like an AI subscription or something like that.
Yeah, we're certainly open to that. Starting point is companies and organizations that contact us following EDI, equality, diversity, and inclusion, and they want their information to be accessible, and the best way to do that. So we have contract work from companies doing that translation. We have funding from Google AI and FOAC, first of a kind, in relation to trains transport in the UK. We have funding. Also, in the deep tech field, people want to invest and support us to grow our product, because essentially it's at the deaf community's advantage, not the hearing community. So it's not just a tick box exercise, but people want to invest in us and support our development. So we do have a long way to go. We have been overwhelmed at times with demand for project work, which is exciting. We will start contacting other organizations across the UK. Now we have extra translator capability to encourage people to make their information more accessible. And it's important because we are a small team, although we're significantly larger than we were last year. We've grown a lot, so we've got lots of interest and lots of demand. So we have to focus our efforts, and we have a roadmap. So yeah, keep supporting us, keep watching this space. And as I said earlier, today and tomorrow are going to be different next week. There are also going to be changes, so the future is looking bright. I can see very positive impact on the deaf community.
Yeah, of course. That's so great. I just wanted to say a little bit of how we can collaborate with people here as well, and the broader community. And there's a lot of development happening in AI, but of course, lots of these companies and organizations are small teams and have a huge workload. So I'm wondering if there's any way people can partner with you or to influence other collaborative projects.
Okay. Yeah, my role is to gather feedback and engage with organizations and show them what we can provide to make their services and information accessible by AI and translation. So Rachel is responsible, as we've said, for linguistics, I'm more about engagement, going out to events, showing people what Signapse is, and providing accessibility in the realm of transport, as we've done successfully so far. So people are interested in gathering information about us, what we do. And I want to set up a survey to get, and a newsletter to get out into the community to find out what people need, how we can help them. And that is part of my role of engaging with the community. Rachel. And also word of mouth helps, because fortunately, personally, I know quite a few ASL professionals. I went to New York last year for several meetings. And I think the key thing is that I am a deaf person. So I'm on the same page as deaf people in America. We have that in common. So yes, we're a UK-based company, and we are working on projects in America. But I am a strong believer that work should be given to deaf translators, deaf interpreters, not hearing. Apologies, no criticism, but I'm talking about deaf people supporting deaf people. I strongly believe in that. And also building trust is key. It's give and take. Having contacts, sharing work, working on projects, making sure you get the right fit, people with the right attitude to do the work. And we have the shared aim of supporting the deaf community and providing access. It's not about one-upmanship or being better or more successful than anyone else. So I've got lots of relationships with people in America, which is very beneficial. And we need more. We need broader contacts in America as well. We're working with agencies and companies over there. It's still early days, so we started with a few airports, and we have other demand and other interest from other airports, and people wanting to work with us in our translation roles. So we will be out there to win more business, and it's important that we are represented by deaf people, working with deaf people, and we can support each other with the shared aim of assisting the deaf community.
Yeah, that's great. We do have a question from the audience. So they were saying, could we show the annotation and machine learning there also with the audio data in the training? So the audio is coming in and the translation is happening.
Edmund? Was that a question from the audience?
Yeah, so just wondering if we have that type of translation coming in from the audio.
So could you repeat the question for me, please, Rob?
Sure, yeah, no problem. So just wondering if the video is coming in and it's being translated to sign via machine learning. Is that a possibility? Is that what's happening?
The structure of the language, the translation can be different. There is regional variation across the UK. Sign language varies. And as Rachel said, the colour purple has many, many different signs across the UK. And there is regional difference. So it's very difficult to train the model to learn how different regions use particular signs. So we need to produce our, obviously, an output product that's going to be understood by the deaf community. So we give we collect data rather from all across the country, and that enables us to create messages in the regions across the UK and also ultimately America and Auslan. potentially. And then we would build our AI in their particular sign language. So those are the steps involved.
So specifically asking about the audio, like if a person is speaking, a hearing person is speaking, would that be translated then to BSL, ASL from that directly?
We have dynamic messages, but at the moment the AI, it's very repetitive information, standard information like train station announcements. This train has 6 coaches. It will arrive at these destinations. So there's no emotion involved in that message, no facial expression. It's just straightforward information that matches the announcements from travel hubs, for example, where the train is leaving from going to. So to have a live conference or a live training session, you would have a live interpreter translator. AI wouldn't be used for that. I don't think there would be a benefit. It would be better to have an actual interpreter translator for that event, because we don't want to put interpreters out of work. Specifically, AI is going to be covering announcements, for example, at travel hubs. Website translations are okay because that's just standard English. There's no emotion involved in that. It's just translation of English text.
Sure, that makes sense.
Oh, Edmund, just to add, we use text translated to sign, but in the future, we would hope to be able to do vice versa, sign into captions. That's the aim. And also at some point, audio, sign to audio. But and also possibly sound to text to sign, but that's at some point in the future.
Sure, that'd be great. Another question from the audience, from Milad. He says, that would be really cool if we have, the LLM information coming in and being able to translate that into video, like if somebody was watching, or somebody was walking rather, and it could be translated into video. I'm just wondering your perspective on that. And then do you feel like that would help your business advance if you explain, how to be able to do that and then convert it to sign language? Or do you feel like it's a long way off?
Yeah, priority right now is to make as many areas accessible as possible. So not many websites are accessible at the moment. So we're doing lots of video translation. And one of our aims is YouTube, because there are obviously millions of YouTubes and you can select captions, closed captions. We would like to have a product to produce a sign language translation, interpretation of those videos that you can turn on and off. But as I said earlier, scope is so broad, we don't want to lose our way. We want to be quite focused, because we're in a unique situation at the moment. There's lots of demand, there's lots of people that come out with wild ideas of what they would like, but we do have to narrow our focus and prioritize, because we've had a significant positive impact in only the last 2 years since we've been established. So in the future, we'll be achieving significantly more. When things are more stable in place and the AI has been perfected, then there will be room, I think, to introduce other ideas and how we work. So it's not a no, it's a possibility. Edmund, if I could just add to Rachel's comment, the resources that is required for sign language translation and data and AI, we have lots of ideas, but not sufficient resource. We're focusing our resource on what we do to make sure we do what we do successfully. And then we can have video translation, audio translation, text translation, yes, at some point. Yeah, and quality is key. It's number one. It certainly is, because we don't want to produce anything that's not appropriate, not of sufficient quality. It has to be accessible, and the deaf community receiving that in a positive way first.
Yeah, Destiny here again, talking about quality. So doing video editing and things like that, it's not exactly like what maybe you're not looking at like specifically, I guess, what you're wanting to keep and what you're wanting to get rid of. It's an interesting position to be in. Maybe a question for Rowan.
Rowan? Yeah, I was just catching up with the captions. I'm relatively new. I've been brought on to work on the videos. Signapse wants to produce signed sentences, but something that is going to be perceived by the deaf community as normal, if you like, natural signing without lots of pauses in that. So the train station announcements that we have done have included finger spelling of names using the alphabet. And you can't have recording each letter of the alphabet individually is very unnatural when that comes to being blended into a sentence. We want that to be produced really quickly. So that's what I'm doing, working with the videos and the time stamping, and we're breaking it down to individual frames, portions of the video. And Edmund is focusing on how to blend these frames together. So we have a nice, naturally produced and nice to understand message every time. So we're talking, train stations got over 2,000 different signs involved in that piece of work. So developing that from individual words and glosses, like individual train stations. And in the future, we will be able to add information. So you have emotion, manual facial expression and movement. So it's much more natural. So the four of us working together, the deaf team, that is our intention. And we're keen to see what we can develop for the deaf world, the deaf community. Edmund, just to add to Rowan's point about editing and time syncing. If we sign a station, place a station in signed space, if you have 6 station names, Birmingham, for example, being one, and the platform number that this train is leaving from, so all of these elements of the message are recorded. And then platform 3, for example, going to Birmingham, we can change the platform to any number and the AI can produce that message. And Birmingham can be replaced with any other station name. And that's how we create messages.
So how are you storing that data? Is it the audio coming in from somebody announcing, platform 1, platform 2, and translating from there? Or is it being typed in to where that translation is happening?
I haven't actually been working with transport yet because that project was already in place, but the API gathers the data and we input into the API. The information is given to me by Rowan, and then the team work with data translation online, and they put the data through the AI that produce an automatic translation. So it's not audio initiated, it's text initiated.
So where is the API then? Is that AWS or Google?
Rachel, can you help? It's not actually in my area. API. The API, I think the I is for integration, isn't it? I should know what the API is. There's lots of jargon that we use and acronyms that we use without necessarily understanding what they mean. But yeah, we have a plugin. So it's software using code that can be plugged into whatever produces the station announcements, for example. So we know that those messages, because the company have given us scripts of what they will say. So they don't deviate from that content that's set, that's fixed. So we produce those videos running through the API, and the API gets plugged into the train station system. And from the text, they generate the AI video messages. So the API is a plugin. Yeah, Edmund, it's like basically the plugin is like a database really that connects to the screens at the train stations. There can be, if we notice there's an error or something that's out of context, we can adjust that via the API. So it's constantly in development. And we have a relationship working with the deaf community, getting their feedback. If they tell us this doesn't look quite right, then we can take that on board and adjust the input. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship we have.
Yeah, I'm curious what you're looking forward to. What's next? I know we only have a couple minutes left, but what should we look out for you guys in the coming future?
Oh, we're going to grow. We're going to get more staff. You're going to see us at airports, train stations, bus stations. You'll know that it's Signapse that have produced that product. And more in America, we can recruit staff in America to make information more accessible for American deaf community. Wishful thinking, but I'm hoping that, and in my life, I've experienced many, many barriers. And we often come to accept those barriers. And now having this information accessible, such as the airport. Now, I've survived this long without having access to information at airports. So the dream is big. We just want to make as much as we can accessible.
Yeah, you are planning to expand a little bit more to more deaf folks, or just a few of you for now?
Yeah, there's 4 of us deaf people here in this team. We have a deaf leadership board as well. We have 5 or 6 members, also an American member who we have connections with, also has connections with America. So every 3 months we have meetings with Deaf Leadership Board to discuss Signapse, its future, our roadmap, and our upcoming projects. And we have 3 co-founders of Signapse who are hearing, but they sign. And they've done amazing research into BSL to get to this point. So they've engaged and worked with the deaf community. So yes, they're hearing, but it has been a barrier to deaf people to be able to study complex subjects and sciences. So Edmund is a rarity. There aren't many deaf people in that situation in the UK. So we're very grateful that our co-founders decided to set up Signapse and give that opportunity to the deaf community to welcome their feedback and take that on board.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Any last questions or anything to share with the last minute that we have? I think there was just a question that came through. One question from Philip. He was asking if there's a problem sign information from the airport or the bus station. So like if I, for example, were to go to the bus and I would see like an error in the message, who would I reach out to?
Yeah, that's the point of working together. Please feedback, because we know it's not perfect yet. And there may be linguistic elements that are wrong. We don't say that we know everything. So we're very keen to work together and listen to feedback, and we can change the product.
Yeah, do you have a product form then you can fill out on the Signapse website, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining today. It was a great
Thank you so much
conversation.
too. Thank you for having us.
And yeah, of course. And thank you, Destiny, as well, for joining us. And yeah, Destiny saying great work, really excited to see what happens, and Rob saying looking forward to, seeing what you expand to, and maybe we can get some of that information in the Seattle airport.
That hour went really quickly. We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe in Cleveland here too. That would be great. I wish. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So thank you. Yeah, we'll be in touch definitely for seeing where you guys go in the next year. So maybe we'll catch up and see what's changed and yeah, go from there.
Sure. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Also, just to let you know, I will send out the recording.